The question is, do you ever feel like if they wanted to,
If he wanted to, he would, babes. If he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he would. I'm the variety store bunch of roses, Phoebe.
And I'm Jacque.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
I thought of that because a friend of mine received the variety store bunch of roses
For Valentine's.
and I don't know if she knew that's what that was, but I knew that's what that was. And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. I forgot about those,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that was a thing.
Uh-huh.
I've received a bunch of those.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No one dare try. Give me that.
I always had boyfriends and girlfriends and the like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and the like. Actually, speaking of, do you like my new glasses?
I was about to say, we have a new person with us on the podcast today.
So, Jacqueline hated these glasses.
Okay,
And she told me not to get them. No, you said that they're fugly and that I would look like a horsewoman.
I literally never said that. Sometimes you just really want to fight with me. Sometimes you really are just like...
No, it's just funny. Okay.
I didn't like the ones you like, and that means I called them ugly.
Yeah, you said that they were stupid and I was wrong. And I think that you're wrong.
Okay.
Because a non-binary barista hit on me while I was wearing them the other day. And they went, I like your glasses.
Oh.
I went, thank you very much.
Okay. I'm wrong.
But yeah, you are wrong.
I'm wrong.
It's just funny. Listen, what am I going to say to you? Oh, my friend Jacqueline disagreed with me. Oh, would you want me to talk to nice to you? I'm really proud of, hey Jacqueline, I'm really proud of you.
No, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable.
Good work. Yeah, exactly. People, and then here's the other thing. People that are nice all the time, heart of darkness.
Oh,
What you hiding?
oh, for real. Yeah. No, but
I'm just keeping it real over here.
We're not talking about you being nice. We're talking about you making up what happened.
Okay, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? That's fucked up of you to say. I didn't make anything. Don't gaslight me. I'll reverse gaslight you.
I think they look great. I'm fine with being wrong.
Thank you.
That's fine.
I was kind of like, I was going for like a Miss Patmore kind of in the kitchen vibes, but then I got them and I kind of look a little Nicole Kidman sitting on the bed when she's crying. She's like, they were all laughing at you. What's that movie? Eyes Wide Shut?
Yes, Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. But then I also thought that they're giving a little bit Gary Oldman in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Or really Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman yesterday, today, tomorrow. Yeah. I'm watching Slow Horses right now, and I can't believe that that's the same man.
Do you know that was nominated for a SAG? It lost. Last night.
I was going to say, did you watch?
I did.
You happy?
My dad and I sat down, watched the SAG Awards. It was bad, Phoebe. It was the worst award show.
Was Kristen Bell hosting?
I have ever seen. It was really bad.
No, worse than the
great Oscar debacle of 2019.
Which I literally liked. Wait, 2019? Who hosted in 2019?
Oh, I thought you were just talking about the Moonlight, like La La Land
No, thing. I was going to say the Oscars when Anne Hathaway and what's his face hosted. But I liked that one.
Okay, me too. Well, that's because we're us. But it wasn't even like, it was like the production. It was the first time that Netflix has ever done a live show. And
that's not true. That's not true. Their first live ever was Love is Blind, a Love is Blind reunion a couple years ago. I wish maybe this is the first time they
produced an award show. Like the first time that they've done like an event.
But when they did Love is Blind, it was bad. Like the connection kept on dropping. And it's like, this is basic technology, guys. Like this was like the first TV was live streaming.
The sound was off. Like the editing was weird. People weren't getting their prompts fast enough. Like we were We were cut to things we shouldn't be seeing. It was like rough. It was really rough.
Wow.
I think they had to cut a lot from like that. They had like skits and stuff that they had planned for Kristen and also like the audience. You could tell like the vibe was weird, you know? And I love the SAG Awards usually because it's like the actors loving on the actors, you know? It's like the peers. It's like and it's like, you know, it's very like about the art of acting, you know?
Yeah.
So like, of course I still cried obviously because it's me, but it was
actually, I meant to send you the text that my mom sent me at, let me find it. No. At 7:10 yesterday. She sent me a text, are you watching SAG Awards? Red carpet now. Awards at 8.
That's me.
And I was like, I looked at it and I thought it was you at first. I thought it was so funny. I was just like, nope. But I briefly considered changing the channel, and then I thought, I'll get filled in.
No,
later.
you will. Jane Fonda won the Lifetime Achievement Award. That was really cool. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus introduced her. So it was like we got Julia and Jane. That was fantastic.
Have you been listening to her podcast?
I love Julia's podcast.
At all? It's really good.
It's really good.
And she had Jane on like not too long ago.
Yeah, I love that podcast. That was great. I don't know. It was just like not, you know, production wise, I was like, oh, this is bad. And you know, everyone's like, the Golden Globes suck. That whole thing. They're all like, everyone, like the Golden Globes is always like, I feel like the Golden Globes really redeemed themselves this year. And I think the Oscars, I just had like this feeling that we're all just kind of over it and that the Oscars are not going to go very well. And then it's going to be like the Golden Globes outshined everything. And then also LA is having this like weird thing where they're like, what do we do? Do we keep going? Do we talk about the fires? Do we like acknowledge the firefighters? So like firefighters are being like asked to come to the award shows and sit at tables and be like, you know, it's like, or do we, it's like a very awkward thing. It's like, do we do this? But
how about just give those people fucking money?
Then it looks like pandering. Exactly. It's like so strange. So it's like, it's a weird vibe in LA period, let alone right now. So it's just kind of like, it's just kind of a weird moment. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, I'm glad you got your SAG in. And yes, Oscars is next weekend.
But what else has been happening? Valentine's Day, Galentines.
Yes.
Can someone?
Oh, look!
What is Galentine's Day? Can someone explain this concept to me?
Was Galentine's Day just from Parks and Rec?
I don't know.
Because listen, an easy Google could take us to the answer. I'm not going to do that.
Honestly, Google could take you to this entire like the whole point of this podcast. So.
Actually, what was I listening to the other day? It was making me laugh. Like whatever they had, like it wasn't even like something that was like wrong, but like everything that they were saying was like just so factually incorrect. But I could completely understand how they would get to these. Like, I feel like I'm literally saying nothing. Also, right now, I feel like I'm saying like AI garbledy-goop, but. I was like, oh, the internet is just like this bizarre game of telephone, and we're all wrong.
Yes.
So anyway, I think Galentine's Day is from
Parks and Rec.
But look, so we don't really mean to, but my friends and I just love a good theme party. Intention. Yeah, we like, and like a little OTT kind of moment. So we did Galentine's, and it was also our friendship anniversary too. Very cute.
Oh,
so we did a little.
Yes,
isn't that funny?
Lovely.
Do you know I met Heidi and Sierra at a friend's mom's baby shower?
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. So anyway, we did craft day. You want to see what I made? I haven't showed them to you yet. I haven't even revealed it on the internet.
Oh my goodness. What is that?
Don't you love him?
He's so cute.
So we felted, and I made this man.
Oh, it's a man. It's not a mouse.
Well, I don't know. Man being the
yes. The container.
I was kind of going the container of man. I was going for kind of like a forest spirit. I thought he may like float through, and then I was kind of giving him like I wanted to give him like a little apple hat, but it kind of turned into like a Robin Hood like chapeau.
I love him. I love the like, cherry cheeks.
Yeah, isn't that cute? Mm-hmm. And then I put him in my little lighthouse thing too. So that's his home. Okay.
The commander of the lighthouse.
Yeah, we felt it. This is the new hyperfixation. And we felt it for hours too.
Wow.
Also. Yeah, it was crazy. Mm-hmm. Just some gals and some needles and some wool.
I mean, if that's Galentine's Day, sign a girl up.
It was lovely. How are you? You're in Florida.
Okay, so I feel like I just came back. Okay, so I'm in Florida and I came back from going on a little girls trip with my college friends.
Girls trip. Woo!
So many of those happened. And
really? Oh God. Oh God.
Some of them that I did not necessarily initiate, but I commanded of the group.
You and we are here for a good time.
Oh yeah.
I'm such a woo girl. You get me in a place at a concert. Woo! It's probably so bad if someone has headphones.
Sorry. So I'm back from a girls trip and I'm visiting. Well, not back. I finished that in Miami and then I came to visit my dad, who's also in Florida.
Cute.
And
to Miami.
I'd never been to Miami before.
That's all I got.
I really liked it. I thought it was funny that we talked about Dochi and now I'm going to be in Florida and I'll probably see an alligator. So alligator sighting forthcoming.
Take a pic.
I'll let you know.
Swap Princess Era unlocked.
Oh, I will. But it was funny because obviously White Lotus is back. The main event of anything right now is White Lotus. And I've got thoughts. I'm sure you've got thoughts.
Have you? I've only watched the first episode.
Same. So here we are.
Okay.
Great.
I'll probably watch the second one tonight.
Soon. Yeah. I'm traveling, so I have to, wait till Jacque and I can watch it together.
Oh, no. Your dad won't watch it?
He would. I actually think he would really like White Lotus. But
maybe we should watch season 1 with him.
It's like, which man do I deal with? I deal with?
Hey, if you want to talk about how your husband and your dad are like, I'm the wrong person for that, and that's a different podcast called Therapy.
It's very funny. I made a joke yesterday about that to my dad. Anyways, moving on. Point is that
I didn't do that one. I went the other way.
Yes.
So
watching White Lotus and then and the incredible storyline of the 3 girlfriends.
Carrie Coon. I'm like that. Every time it cut to those 3 women, my body broke into hives.
Exactly.
I'm
so ready.
Stressed. Oh, fuck, what was that line that it's like, and you work so hard.
And you. And, oh my God. And the scene where they're talking
you just do life so hard. Your life's so hard. That's what she said. Your life's so hard.
So hard. And like they talked about all the stuff that they've done, and Carrie has clearly not done anything as a character, but also apparently in life. I didn't know that. Just hasn't put anything in her face.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
She doesn't do anything. Yeah. I know. Don't you love it?
I love it.
Was I telling you that?
I think you did. Yeah.
Because she was like, I'm too fucking busy.
Because her life is so hard.
Because someone was like on Twitter, they were like, why does Carrie Coon look like she's like 20 and 50 at the same time? Like, why is she like so perfect? She's like, oh my God, she's so funny, right? Like she's a working actress. And she was just like, thanks so much. I got to work on a Carrie Coon impression because it's so funny. She's so good. But she's like, thanks so much. Work hard, have 2 kids, try to keep my marriage alive. Like, just don't have time to put anything in my face. Word.
That's so funny. Yeah. So watching that scene, oh my gosh, or that like storyline and that the scene where she goes into her own little
and she's
area,
like, silent sobbing,
silent screaming. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. The dynamics of group trips are always so funny, and I loved how smart that it like if you've ever been on a group trip, that like the dynamics of who stays with who, like who's in the main thing and who's in the other bedroom and who's isolated over here and who's whatever. It says so much about the group. You know?
I don't think like my friendship groups are like small. Well, I guess it's like 3 women. Like that's my like friendship group. It's like an iconic trio.
Have you guys ever been out? Like, have you ever gone on a trip?
No.
Honestly?
No.
Don't.
Oh, I don't think we ever would. Like, we tried going to Italy last year. And, like, it's also just, I don't know how you've managed to do that with your friends. Just, like, every time we've tried, it's just like, oh, I can't. Like, somebody can't swing it for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. We talk about our like group our like girls trips in our like 60s.
because
that's what we're talking about.
That's the time. That's the time to go. I just thought it was funny. Like I watched White Lotus. I watched that like storyline, and then I went on a girls trip, and I was like, "This is all. It's all." And you're like, "Here it is." Stab someone. Here it all is. It was fun. It was a lovely time. I'm exhausted, and girls trips are not a vacation. Someone texted me, and they're like, "Hope you're enjoying your vacation," and I was like, "This is a weird."
You're like, I clocked into work. Actually. I clocked into work, and and I had to try and not do therapy for 24 hours a day.
Yeah. I don't know. And, I was just like...
Well, that's what I mean. I went over to my friend's house. I was like, we're going to go have brunch. And I was there for 5 hours felting.
The thing that I will say about girls trip is like, at some point you look around and you're just like, I love women. Women will talk until they fall asleep. Like it'll be 2 a.m. Like women will like... It's just like... I don't know.
It's funny you say that because I've been watching Love is Blind and I do think it's really interesting. This is like both on topic and not at all. But I do think it's really interesting like the way that the women like all meet back in like the women's quarters and like they relate. And I'm like, yes, that's just like women together talking. Right. And I think like being very evolved, like, like when like a love triangle forms or whatever, I think like women are just very... intelligent and like like they were being like mindful of other people's feelings. I was like, oh, wow, that's like hard. But then it cuts back to like the men's quarters all the time, and I think it's really funny on this show the way they like force men to like be together in ways that men aren't ever together. And so it'll be really funny where like I think it's possible like they force men in this container because they're living together to like talk about their feelings and relationships, but then they'll go like when they go and get married, they'll be like with their friends back home and they'll be like their like like their brother or their like childhood best friend, and they'll like obviously producers will like prompt them to like talk about their feelings with each other, and like those men don't have those relationships with each other, and it's just always like the clunkiest bumpiest ride of like what's the word, like platitudes.
Yes That's so funny. Okay, great. I'm reading this book.
Oh, you want to talk about a book
called
that sounded so what's the word, you want to talk about a book?
You're so over me. Obsessive.
No. I was going to say, it sounded so condescending. Oh. I didn't mean it that way.
I'm reading a book called Obsessive Intrusive Magical Thinking.
Oh. Is that, what's her face?
Marianne Eloise.
Oh, no. Obsessive Intrusive Magical Thinking. That's fun.
I know, right? I'm like on the beach reading this book called Obsessive Intrusive Magical Thinking. Because that's me. I don't do beach reads.
What's it about?
It's about a woman with autism and talking about just...
You don't get enough of that in your everyday?
Well, I guess not. Talking about just... It's a book of essays. I really like it because I'm reading it for like an example of what I could potentially do. When you pick up books or you read things or you watch things where you're like...
I have to be careful. I haven't been reading much right now because I've been writing so much, and I have to be careful because otherwise I just like... I'm the same with like people's accents, the way people talk. Like I am such a, I don't know, chameleon mirror. Like if you like input the wrong thing, I will output the exact same thing. So it's funny you say that because I've been, I need some format help, but like.
That's what kind of,
It's like a careful line,
That's what kind of brought me there. Okay. It was like, because I'm like writing a solo show and I realized that like the solo show is a small part, right? Like it's like a bigger thing that I'm writing,
or like one tessellation of the thing
that I'm like putting on stage, but like it's obviously going to be a bigger thing. And so it's like a book of essays that she breaks up into obsessive, intrusive, and magical, and like
cute.
Talks about her journey with like autism, with OCD, with this concept of like, well, I mean, I guess like obviously like magical thinking, which I didn't know that's the term apparently that doctors use to describe basically women who are obsessive. There's like the roots of like hysteria, right? And like magical, like, all of that stuff. But then she talks about like how she kind of loves that, you know what I mean? You know, all of that stuff. It's a really interesting negotiation of like, are these things superpowers, which can be so condescending, right? Or like, are these things not? Anyways, I highly recommend it, especially if you're someone who's like, I'm writing all this stuff, like kind of why I'm reading. Like I'm writing all this stuff that's kind of similar about the same themes, and I don't know how to like do something with it. You know?
Yeah.
Like what's the container? She did a really fabulous job of that, I think. So
cool.
A little art.
Cool. I've just been Love is Blind and Slow Horses, which is a weird cocktail. For the mind's eye.
Yeah, that is a very interesting cocktail. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody texted me the other day about Traitors. Paul.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like...
I've been watching The Traitors, too,
Like, I'm not allowed to watch it. Or I just, like, wouldn't understand. I think that's what Phoebe says.
What did Paul have to say about The Traitors?
Well, I kind of know...
He just wanted to talk about it?
I know some of the, like... jokes like I know some of the like pop culture talk about it or whatever, like I know like the dialogue. I just don't know the show.
This is one of my favorite seasons,
really,
because I think it's got such a fun like mix of people, which you would have had to have been studying reality TV, right, like I have, like for the last 20 years. Because it's like quite literally like Boston Rob was on in like 2005.
Oh my goodness.
On Survivor. Actually, literally 20 years. Holy fuck. I remember watching that season with my mom of Survivor. But then like, I love, like, you might just like this. You might just like this little internet wormhole. I love Gabby. She was on The Bachelorette, I think, which I'm not a big Bachelorette person, but she's dating one of my favorite comedians. And I always, when I do this, Robbie, I always say, oh, my favorite person. And then I can't remember their name. All of a sudden, Robbie Hoffman.
Oh,
that's her name.
Yeah.
Really good comedian. It's just a funny, like, she's just a good personality on this season. Yeah. So, anyway.
Interesting. Well, that's us.
Okay, what are we talking about?
Shall we get to the question?
What's the question? Jacqueline.
Oh, God.
What's the question? That was 7 different accents.
Like, wait.
Just now.
Are we Irish?
Are
we Australian?
That was... Doesn't matter.
The question is, do you ever feel like if they wanted to, they would?
If he wanted to, he would, babes. If he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to, he would.
That's what, but you need an ingredient that you need, like
I need. But you said they.
If they wanted to, they would.
I was thinking he. I just think about men.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of the origin of this thing, right? Is like. I think it's got its place in what's that movie? Or no, the book. He's Just Not That Into You.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I think that's kind of where this idea started.
Well, no, that was a movie.
Oh, it was a movie too.
Drew Barrymore. I love that movie.
But that's kind of where this kind of like concept of like, well, at least I mean in my my like reference.
Yes.
You know?
Well, yeah, we're old millennials,
exactly.
so anyway.
Of this concept of like, if like. You know, like men are like can access whatever, and like if they really wanted to, they would show up, or like he's just not that into you, and that's why he's not doing the thing, because if he was that into you, he would do the thing, or if he would show up in some way. But now I think it's kind of turned into, obviously in the progression of time, this kind of question about friendship and community too. And I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and I think everyone's kind of thinking about like the ways of the world currently, and like community and what that means, and how we do anything together, how we be together. And I think there's like so many things we could talk about in this conversation, but I think there's a lot of like online talk specifically about friendship, like in an interesting way. Like, I don't know, there's been this like investigation around being like the uninvited friend, or being like the lonely friend. That's been like, that's like kind of recent that I've seen. I've definitely seen like the friend who plans everything, or like the mom friend. But there's like this very interesting conversation right now specifically about like the one that's not really wanted, which I find interesting.
Do you feel like this is like partly kind of, I don't know, inspired, because I've been thinking about like therapy speak on the internet so much lately.
Yes.
But like, do you feel like this is what the fuck? Oh, because on Love is Blind, everyone's talking about their attachment styles all the time. And I did an attachment style training years ago, and I think about this a lot. Your attachment style is so changeable, is so movable, is my point. And I think people are so obsessed with like, oh, what's your attachment style? I'm like, that's not a fixed thing. That is a way of relating to somebody. And like, the goal is to form a secure attachment with the relationships in your life. So I was just wondering, it's like, do you think it's kind of part of that? It's like, as we investigate like our relational ways of being?
Absolutely.
Then, you know what? It's the glasses. Did you just fucking hear everything I just said? That was stunning. Yeah. Hello, Dr. Phoebe in the house.
Coming in with us. This is what I'm saying. Another person has joined us. I feel like that's totally a part of this. I also think there's like this advocacy and activism conversation that's been happening for a while around like relational and interpersonal skills are kind of like the first step to being able to do anything on a community care level, right? Like if you can't show up for yourself and your closest loved ones, or like you can't navigate conflict in your interpersonal relationships, how are you supposed to dismantle systems, basically?
Yeah.
And I think these things are like, it's so interesting. Like, I think part of our jobs, I've realized with this podcast, maybe our job, or like with this, like in these investigations, is to like tear some of this stuff apart, right? Or like to like take some of this stuff apart. Because it's like...
Yeah, you and I are anything if not extremely critical.
And skeptical.
We have no answers, but I can pull a thread. For 45 to 60 minutes.
Or I can be like, this is kind of like this. Or like, are we repeating these things or whatever, right? So, part of my like journey, like we talked about in the 2025 episode, the New Year episode, is this idea of like, I was like, oh, I think being a homebody actually isn't a personality. Like, actually, I think that I need to leave my house, right? And we were both talking about that. And that's kind of where this started for me, where I was like, okay, why do I think that's a personality? And why don't I feel more connected to people? And going and leaving the house and buying your shoelaces versus ordering them online, like, does make you feel more a part of something, right?
Which also, by the way, just because we're like trendsetters, I am seeing so many people talk about that this year. Like, oh, I canceled my Amazon subscription. I went out for a walk and bought my shoelace. Like, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, I know the world is hellish, but we're trendsetters as well. So anyway.
I'm grad ma'am. So I feel like I feel like that kind of opened up, I don't know. There's like a lot of chatter about community care, I guess what I'm saying. And I've been thinking about like my relationships, but also like this idea of like loneliness, I think, too, because obviously the whole being a homebody thing is not a personality. I think is kind of like being like us staying home and being like comfortable at home was obviously a response to the pandemic. And now we're trying to talk.
Oh, hugely. Like hugely.
Yeah. And now we're having this kind of shift of like, okay, everybody, like we can like keep it, like we gotta like get it moving or whatever. Right. And that means gathering. That means being around other people. That means being around your friends. That means showing up for things. That means carrying groceries down the street with someone who needs them. That means bringing over, a cherry pie when your friend has a baby. That like whatever the thing is, right? It means like leaving and like going and interacting and gathering and being together.
And like giving. Right? Like I was thinking about this because we just had this huge, massive like snowstorm the last week. Like and it's like the most snow like Southern Ontario's had since the 80s or something like that. Huge. Like the number of hours I've shoveled in the last week has been just immense. And I'm like, I'm shoveling my neighbors' driveways. I'm shoveling like people streets over's driveways. I've like helped move cars, whatever, like, just like community people coming together. And I just think all of these people talking about community care, I'm like, do you know your neighbors' names?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, do you know your neighbors' names? Or people saying that they want these things and like not like it. And it was driving me nuts too, because I live on a street that has like lots of able-bodied people and like people younger than me. And like they weren't, I don't
helping
know,
the
maybe
street
like,
out.
they weren't like contributing to the like this like little street community that we have. And like me and my next door neighbor have like opposing election signs like on our front lawns right now. And like, but I have a very nice relationship with this like this couple next door, like they're 60 something, maybe older, probably older, and like, I don't know, but it's like, that's like what leaving your house is.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And being in your community and like shoveling. It sounds basic, but
if you shovel the driveway, you might not feel lonely. Like that's exactly.
Well, and like I shoveled the driveway and like was chatting for a bit, and then like, you know, my neighbors brought over a bottle of wine after, and just like shit like that, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just nice to feel like you're a part of something, and I think people
totally,
like, it doesn't need to happen on your phone. I think that's part of it. It's like the pandemic really just shoved everything online for us. That's like, we forgot that you don't need to like, I don't know, pre-register for leaving the house.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's like this like, so I think it's definitely about giving for sure. And I think I've used that expression, if they wanted to, they would, many times in my own like relationships or whatever, right? And I think what's interesting about that, I'm gonna play many a devil's advocate in this, is that, or like go many places, but like if they wanted to, they would, assumes a lot about people, assumes a lot about the amount they are able to give, assumes it's kind of a privileged expression, right? If they wanted to, they would,
totally,
right? Like, and it's assuming a lot about the capabilities, resources, understandings, etc., lifestyle, whatever, of another person, community, whatever, right? Family member, whoever we're saying it about. And I think there's a little bit of privilege to just like kind of acknowledge in that expression, right? But I also think that, like, I thought about that, and then I was thinking about how most of the people that I know that are shoveling, right, that are donating, that are giving $5 here or there, don't actually have it to give.
No.
Right? Like,
oh my God.
And
like, we just, like, a little example, like there's like a bakery that needed our, like, really great bakery down the street from me that was like, hey guys, we did not do like the Christmas sales that we needed to stay afloat through January and February. They made my birthday cake. Pinch. Shout out Pinch Bakery in Hamilton.
So
that cake was so good, and it was vegan. And I, once again, be the first to admit, vegan baked goods taste nasty sometimes, and that didn't.
No, it's very good.
And I was even like skeptical of getting a vegan cake. Anyway, they did such a good job and made all my birthday cake dreams come true. But they were like, people, we need your help to stay afloat. And they were like, we couldn't sell everything that we wanted to stay afloat. So they're asking for like $5 donations to just pay their rent. And they had posted, they're like, a couple of people that came through with some really big donations. Thank you very much. But FYI, it was the $5 donations that absolutely saved the day. And I just thought that was a huge thing to like shout out, because that's like, we might not feel, I mean, especially with everything in the world right now, like we might feel so powerless. And like, that's definitely something I feel. But my reaction lately has just been like sending somebody $20, whether it's like a friend or like an organization or like if I see a GoFundMe right now, I'm like, here. What do I have?
And that's the thing, is most of the campaign, like most of these things, whether it is like the mom friend who's also totally burnt out and overtouched showing up for another mom friend who's like dying, right? Or that is like the people who actually don't have a lot are the ones that are giving. And there's this really great writer. She's like a writer. She's like an activist, or like I don't know exactly like how she expresses her work, or like what she like identifies. But they look at kind of this concept of like interrelational care, and like our personal relationships are actually the things that have the ripple effect to build more collective societies and to build like the kind of world that we want to look at, like, live in. And that exactly like you have to start literally at home or with your neighbor. And the at home of it is like, can you get in a fight and still love the person that you're like with, right? You know what I mean?
Like, can you shovel your like neighbors? And I mean, like, I will caveat this with saying like, I'm not trying to be like, can we all just get along? No. Like, no, when our human rights, like fundamental human rights are on the table to quote unquote bargain with. No. That's not at all what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, but like we need to be able to stay in the conversation with somebody, right? Like,
this person's work that I was just talking about, their name is Christabel Minta Galloway. And I've been following their stuff for a while. And they're a writer and artist that talks about a collective society says, and it's so funny because like she's been writing about this stuff for a while, but literally today posted like, I was like, oh, this is the podcast episode, which I think is interesting.
Funny.
But like basically collective societies say if your cup has even a little bit in it, like you share. But an individualist society says like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Put your mask on first.
Exactly. And I think what's interesting is this like balance. Like I think the answer is this like balance of like you don't want to go like extreme individualism, but you also don't want to go extreme collectivism, obviously, because then you have people doing way more than they can. They're absolutely drained. Women especially are becoming like self-sacrificial, like
black women
exactly turning into like dust because it's like so difficult and we're destroying them, right? It's like, so I think it's like, so this like expression of if they wanted to they would is like an interesting thing to like negotiate, I guess, because it's like obviously going to be individual and circumstantial, but like I think that there are times where I feel like, oh, I actually, like, I really can't do something. Like, there are times, like, I guess I should say, like, I'm kind of personally negotiating this. So there are times that, like, I feel like, oh, I really can't actually show up in this way that this person really need me to. And if I did, I actually might be harmful to the situation. And then there are times where I'm like, get over yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you might not totally feel rested, pouring, like being able to pour over your cup is full, like that whole thing. But like, is that what that person actually needs from you? Do they need you to be?
And like so much of like, think about like what's truly like healing and regenerative and like a friendship. I mean, like I said, literally sitting in my friend's living room for 4 hours, like we had our heads down, like doing a little task together. Or like, I don't know, like come over and sit on my bed while I clean my room, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Like it doesn't actually need to be, I don't know, this whole like fully formed like presentation of like relationship or whatever. Yeah. Like that's not interesting, and that's not like how relationships actually are. And I do feel a little bit like relationship, what's the word? Like high and mighty a bit. What's the word I'm thinking of? It is the afternoon. I have no language. It's fucking crazy.
Like you feel like
whatever. Having like, okay, once again, Love is Blind. It all comes back to Love is Blind today. I think what like, oh my God, I'm having 7 different thoughts. And
this is the thought that I was going to have earlier. This is what I was going to say earlier, is that I think where you're going, which is that like sometimes I've been in a relationship for 15 years, and sometimes I think, oh, I just know how to do this.
Actually, I'm really good at it. I actually, yes, like, 100%. Yeah. I'm really good at being in a relationship with somebody because I've been doing it for a really fucking long time. And I think people kind of forget the like goal of relationships, whether that's romantic or friendship, right? Like, and that's what I mean, I'm like watching Love is Blind. I think the people that do well on that show are really committed to a purpose. Like, here we are going to form a union, an alliance to complete a goal together, and that goal can be having a family, raising children, doing this thing. Like, what is your
making money
under XYZ, making money under XYZ, you know, like, what's the word, like religion or purpose or meaning making structure, like whatever. Those are the couples that do really well, that are like very direct and very like purposeful in their relationships. And I think that's like why, like, I've been in a relationship with somebody for 13 years. Like, I don't really think any of the things that we think as people, like, whether, I think like very basic values are important, but other than that, like how tall you are, what you look like, and like,
no,
I don't know, like pretty like, I think we put so much meaning into things that aren't actually that like impactful in relationships. It's like, are you willing to are you willing, able, and I don't know, not a fucking asshole enough to sit in a hospital room with me?
Yeah.
You know, are you like capable of Or like Simon was shoveling way too many people's sidewalks because it's like really important to him. You know what I mean? And I was like, you do so much for the community. Like that kind of stuff. Like, am I making any sense
Christabel,
today? I feel like I am.
No, you're fine. You're really giving us a lot of segues. It's really working.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so Christabel talks about this idea of like, if you like relational skills are community skills. Like if you can't show up for somebody long term, whether that's imperfectly or not, like whatever that looks like, right? Like if you can't show up for somebody long term, or if you have difficulty with repairing conflict, or if you don't know how to build trust, or if you don't like these deep relationship skills are the things that are going to not make it easier, because it's not easy, and that's the point, right? Like that's like a kind of, you know, I don't want to say make it easier, but I don't know, are going to give you what you need in order to, because that's like the question I'm always thinking, right? Is like, if you can't fight without hurting someone, for example, right? Or if you can't show up for someone imperfectly, how are you supposed to like rally together a group of strangers you don't know? Okay, here we go. White women. If you can't, you know, talk to your friends about something, right? Or if you can't show up for the people in your life, or if you can't, whatever it is, how are you supposed to gather a group of, you know, women at the library trying to like, I don't know, take, you know, whatever, do something in the world? It's just kind of like, there's a caveat to that. But, you know, it's just kind of like,
I know it's
really hard.
Like there's so many, but I just think it's just the thing that makes it hard to talk about is just the whataboutism of the internet, right? It's just the like, what about this very specific context that you haven't talked about? It's like, but I'm not talking about that. And also we're just like two women on a podcast, just like saying some shit. So like
white supremacy is here with us, and we're like going through it. Yeah, exactly. If we don't put energy and focus into like the everyday people in our lives, all I'm saying, like there is no way we could do any good for the world. Like it's just like not possible. And I think what I've been kind of thinking of, or like reminding myself about, is that sometimes just like creativity and just like art, or just like the other things that I say that I value, sometimes it's inconvenient and hard, right? Like sometimes community is inconvenient. Sometimes like I have a certain window of tolerance. Do you know what I mean? And I have to recognize what that is, and I have to do it anyways. Like I don't have to be this perfectly regulated, like we were saying, like person to be able to actually show up for somebody. I just have to be within my window of tolerance to be able to show somebody that I care, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that we are so used to being like everything being convenient, right? Whether it's the screen, the ordering, the blah blah blah, whatever. Someone comes
or
to
the
me.
GoFundMe.
Yeah, exactly.
The like the link.
Yeah, the link, the like whatever it is. Yeah, that, like we forget. Oh, yeah. If I go out and be with people, it might not go well, right? Like it might go badly, and I have to be exposed to that possibility, you know. Or it might be inconvenient, or I might step in a puddle on my way to the store, or I might like whatever it is. Yeah. And I think I'm becoming, I guess, like, I think I'm like, after the pandemic, becoming more resilient to this. Like, oh, I can go, not resilient, like or comfortable with it. I can go and I can hang out with my friend and I cannot be showered. Like that's something very specific, right? Yes. Or I can like hang out with my friend and like maybe I had a really upsetting call on the way over there. But if I don't go in and be like, I had an upsetting call, or try to act like I can like be whoever, like that's actually not okay. You know, like that's actually not being...
I think it's also just like being clear about what you want, right? Like expectations out of things. I've been trying to get together with two of my friends actually who are like also disabled. And it's so funny. Like we've been trying to get together for months, and it's like, does this date work for you? Hey man, sorry, I got to cancel. Yeah, like it's just this back and forth. And so, but I think having that like clarity and like what I need in a friendship, and being really honest, and like both of us saying like, hi, here's what I need, and if I don't text you back for an extended period of time, or like I might cancel on you last minute, and like having that understanding is like so like that. I feel really loved, even though I haven't seen those people in a really long time.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
Like it begs,
and like, or like same thing about like, what do I need from somebody?
Exactly. It begs the question, like, you know, if they wanted to, they would. Do they know what you need?
Yeah.
Do they know like what wanting to is for you? Like, do they know?
A lot of the time, like, I am the friend that has like more capacity inside of those things in so many different ways, right? And it's I like that. I like that about myself. I like being a giving person. I like my silly, happy goofiness is like usually a little bit closer, I would say, than the average person's.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know?
Yeah. I think that's that's kind of the bringing it around. Yeah. Like exactly. The dot at the end of the thing is like, yes, if they wanted to, they would, sure. Or if we're talking about like the uninvited friend or not wanted friend or whatever. And like, I have so many feelings for that person, right? Like I'm like,
also I've been that person, and then I go, oh, never mind. You know, like I think you and I are actually just quite good at not taking things so personally.
Yeah, well. I think like this examination of this online or whatever, like the conversation around it is interesting because it's like nobody is being like, well, just ask them why you weren't there. Like just ask them why you weren't invited.
Like, but that's exactly what I mean. Like, I have no problem saying to somebody like, hey, you really, the same way I have no problem saying like, hi, here's what I need from you. I have no problem saying to somebody, that was fucked up, man. Yeah. Like, and I've never, I mean, for many different reasons, as we know, I've never had real problems with that. And I think, this is like a whole other thing. Nothing is more irritating to me than people say, oh, what do people say? I'm not confrontational. What do people say?
I'm not confrontational. I'm unconfrontational.
No, but they're like, oh, I'm an unconfrontational person. I don't like whatever. I don't like confrontation. It's like, shut up. No one does. Like, get over yourself. Like, it's just such a like dumb.
Conflict
it's the same way as like
or whatever.
Conflict avoidant. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's like, get over yourself. Like, nobody likes it. Deal with your hard feelings and like say what you need or say what you don't need from somebody. Like, grow the fuck up. It's it's like people pleaser. Shut up. Deal with yourself.
Yeah. Cristobal talks about this idea of like not only is it like get over yourself, especially for the capacity and like the person, whoever is saying that to me, I'm always like, okay, what flesh human am I looking at right in front of me? But like Cristobal talks about like how white supremacy and capitalism actually is making you think you're conflict avoidant. White supremacy 100%. And capitalism is making you think
because you're supposed to feel glossy.
Yeah, people
right?
pleasing.
It has to be okay.
Right, exactly. Like when relationships, no matter the size, are built in repair. They're built in conflict. Actually, they're like, you come together, you come closer, you know each other better when something bad happens.
Yeah, rupture, repair, rupture, repair. Yeah,
and I think that. You know, so I think that's, again, maybe something that we're over here on there we go. High horse, smug.
High horse, smug. We did it. Yes, smug.
We feel maybe high horse over here. But I think that, I also think I have fallen, again, like the stuff isn't easy. Like I have made so many mistakes or I've had to learn this stuff over and over and over and over again, right? But yeah, so I think I just have like a big, what's the word? Oh my God, expressions today. I just think I have a big like bone to pick with this idea of if they wanted to, they would, right? Because it's like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Yes. If they wanted to, they would just show up.
But like, did you say what you wanted?
But also, did you say what you wanted?
Did you voice your opinion?
Because I also know, for example, a lot of women, a lot of mothers, there's this whole other conversation about this of like having children and having a community, having a unit around you, having somebody else, having other people around you to help you bring your child, rear your child, and how a lot of families are like, oh, I really want this. I wish we had this, but then aren't participating willing to do the hard thing activities. Exactly
like responding to invite.
Right.
That's what I think is really funny. It's like RSVP, motherfucker.
At least say that you're not coming to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel...
Yeah, say no. Oh my God. I dare everyone to say no on an RSVP. That's like so inconsequential. And people are like, maybe. Or just don't respond.
Okay, a maybe on an RSVP?
Maybe is illegal. That's illegal activity.
Get that out of here. What? No. No.
Have you ever had any friendship breakups? Okay, I'm already fascinated by this answer.
No.
No?
Okay, well, see, here we are. I think this is another episode. What do we classify as a breakup? What are we saying as a breakup? What are the ingredients of a breakup?
Like, I've had friendship, like, breakup.
Like you and I decide that we are no longer...
It's been very one-sided. I've been broken up with.
Okay.
In a friendship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I feel...
You've never... Because I think that's the...
the difference between us?
Okay. No.
I'm just saying that because I am someone who would totally be like, I'm a people pleaser. Like, you know what I mean? Like you know, so...
Yeah, so would I, but I just think it's like bullshit. I just think all this therapy speak, and like I know we've had this episode written for so long. Like I just think that stuff's like actual bullshit. Like grow up for real. I just think this is part of it, right? Because it's like,
do relationships need to last forever? Like no. Yeah.
Well, also I just think too, it's like I don't have a lot of friends on purpose, right? And like I've created my relationships because also I've had all of the conversations. Like I've had like, hey, I need this from you, or you hurt me this way, or vice versa. Like, hey, Phoebe, we need you to whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like I've had those conversations. Like I'm saying, like I'm locked into them. That's it. A little bit. Applications are currently closed, but I think that's like important to find your people that way. So it's like if you're looking at your friendships and you're asking for things and you're not getting what you want, like I don't think it's that important to like be the uninvited friend in a bunch of people that aren't that great and not nice. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like whatever, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've done that a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I'm like, oh, never mind.
I think if you can have, a couple of other people that can show up for you in the way that you need. I don't know. Maybe I just value that a lot more than being invited to the party, personally.
Same. I don't really get a lot of FOMO like that either.
I think that...
Do you?
No.
Like if I see a thing, I don't think I experience that. But I also don't think I experience like jealousy at all.
I don't think I experience jealousy. I think I experience envy, which are different.
I think that would be like if you feel like you're supposed to feel a certain way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But I get that from like strangers on the internet. You know? Like, oh, should I have that top? Should I have that carpet? You know? I didn't go to that vacation destination this year. Exactly. Like, do I feel like shit? You know?
So, like, I feel like the girls' trip is a very good example of this in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Everyone has their role.
Yes.
Some people some people resent their role. Some people don't like their role, right? Some people are bad at their role.
Oh my God, that's so funny you say that. That's so funny you say. What did I call it? I call it jurisdictions the other day.
Some people
remain inside your jurisdiction.
Yeah. Some people
do not try and plan and organize outside of it. Yeah. It's not your fucking business.
Some people are mad about their role. Some people are stumbling through their role. Some people are like, I can't wait to get out of here. But they showed up to the thing, and so I think I don't know. I think there's like kind of a truth to if they wanted to, they would. And then I also think it's a little more complicated,
What's your role?
In the trip?
In the trip, my role is pretty consistent always.
I think that's something that's really interesting about like these like relational skills, right? Is that I play a different role depending on...
You play a different role?
Where I'm at.
That's fascinating.
Huh? Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah. I'm always big sister.
Yeah.
I'm always mom. I'm always...
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah.
And once again, in ways that I don't always love.
Yeah.
Like I don't like that that's who I am, but also I'm Soleil at a Notion dashboard. Okay.
Right.
So let me organize the girls trip.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And even like I was out to brunch a bit ago, you know, like I was sitting with the girls and I started like pulling things out and giving things to everybody. And Sarah was like, "You're just like being a big sister right now." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like I was like kind of insulted that she said that. I was like, "I'm just being me."
Like, what are you talking about?
How dare you pathologize this?
Here's a scarf.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think, okay, I'm kind of like, I think I'm going to take it back. I think I am always the same.
Yeah.
I'm like caregiver.
You try to make me husband.
Yes.
I'll say that in our friendship, and I refuse. You are always trying to make me husband. You're always trying to make me boyfriend. And it's not who I am.
I know. I am always. I think I do that to people who I really love.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know you're doing that because, and I'm like, no, I am not engaging.
You're like, no, you're parallel parking the car, Jacque, not me.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes I'll just give up. Like, Jesus, take the wheel, it is what it is. And other times I'm like, no. I don't
do
want
that.
to.
I think I'm definitely the caregiver. I'm not always like the planner or like the mom, but I'm definitely the person that's like with the girl in the back who's sobbing in the corner because something like, you know, like I'm the person who like, again, I know all the secrets. I have taken
every bride.
I know all the things.
Any wedding,
you know? Like,
any wedding I've been to, I've taken the bride to the bathroom, even if I don't know her that well.
Let's go.
And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Where do you find yourself in relationship to the bride at a wedding?
You're trying to figure out how we dismantle systems of oppression. Where are you when... when the girl's crying in the corner? Who are you? Who are you playing at the party? But that's exactly what I'm talking about here, right? And if you're interested, we'll put stuff in the show notes. Christabel's work is great. Priya Parker's work is great. Yeah, I think that's it.
Beautiful. Do you ever feel like leaving your house, being person to person, flesh to flesh?
Flesh to flesh.
The tender flesh. Do you ever feel like the tender flesh?
I think ultimately what I'm saying is that I am the if they wanted to, they would person.
Oh, you and I both are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that about us.
Until I make you husband.
And until you make me husband. And then I tell you to fuck right off to your face. Yes. I have no problem. I think people must think that we hate each other based on the way I speak to you in public very specifically.
Well, no, yes, but I also think that that's like love, you know.
But like I said, I don't have a heart of darkness, so.
Wow.
It was so funny when we were out to
really brought it
dinner
around.
the other
I'm really
night.
proud of us.
I know. We did it. We can record in the afternoon. It's just a slow process. I was going to say, when we were out to dinner the other night, like all the lesbians at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, it's us.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I was thinking, this is so unrelated. Do I want to bring this up right now? I was thinking about when we were out to breakfast and we saw that waiter who gave you her phone number to you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I were you, I would go to that place every day. And I would say thank you.
I have a story for you about Miami. This is weird. This stuff happens to me all the time. And I think that's why you're so
annoyed. Why didn't you call her? Why didn't you call?
Call you?
No.
Oh, it wasn't a woman. But sure.
Yay! Oh, yay! You did what I told you to do. Okay, let's save it for a green rube up so everyone has to come subscribe.
Yeah. Oh, good segue.
Yeah. So we've launched the green room, and if you want to come hang with us and gossip about Jacqueline getting hit on all the time, this is stunning. Then come subscribe. We'll hang out with us in the green room.
I mean, you think this is chaos.
You think this is chaos. Wait until you hear our unedited. This is edited. What you just listened to is edited. Do we have anything else? Actually, we said to the girls, 2025 is the year of the pod. Guys, you delivered.
Oh, you really have. Yeah, you really, really have.
Well, everyone showed up. So I'd like to say once more, send this to a friend. Send this, and you could be a bit passive aggressive about it too. You'd be a bit. I'm always kind of inciting chaos.
If they wanted to, they would episode to your friend.
To your friend who's like, you haven't thrown me a tomato-themed birthday party yet.
I love it.
I think that's good. Or like, I always organize brunch. Fuck you, bitch. You organize brunch,
Yeah.
I don't know but send this to a friend. You can be a touch on the passive-aggressive side. I'm always kind of inviting, chaos or whatever. How exciting would it be if you're like, oh, do you ever feel like I've known about them for years? What you want to do at this moment in time is become smug.
Yes.
So
join us on our high horse.
Join us on the high horse. Extended palm open. Join me on the saddle.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Send this to a friend. Invoke chaos. Anyway, this needs to end because this was fucking crazy.
Okay, bye.
I think there's an episode in there. Okay. Goodbye.